Hi guys, thanks for coming. We get the comfy seats, this is good, isn't it?
Thank you.
So I'm Matt Roberts, I'm one of the key account managers for the UK. For me, this is probably the most interesting part of the day, and hopefully for you, where you get to hear from some of our existing customers, some of our best existing customers. So we've got various questions to run through, try and understand a bit more about implementation of Zoho, expanding more apps, scaling up and how the business has used different apps in different ways. So we'll start with a few intros. Do you want to start, Richard?
Yeah. So I work at Grain Connect, which is a broadband provider in the UK. I look after technology and people. We've been using Zoho since July 2022. We have about 200 employees, about 110 of those across kind of sales, support and corporate functions, and then 90 out in the field doing the build for our network.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jan Fura. I work for Furnley House. We're a financial advice company based in the Midlands, but part of a group, Superbia. We offer financial advice, look after about £1 billion worth of assets. Been using Zoho for about 5 years. The Zoho One product, so we've had a policy of if it isn't Zoho, then do we really need it? I look after the strategy and make sure we get the most out of Zoho.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Mazen Sehgal, the CRM Manager for Global Banking School. We're the UK's fastest growing higher education institute in the UK. Campuses across the UK, from London to Leeds, and we offer courses from diplomas to master's degrees, with over 60,000 students annually. Quite a large organisation. Operate internationally as well, but I focus on the UK side of things.
Thanks, Mazen.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Paul Phillips. I work for a company called Kingspan Insulated Panels, EAA. I'm the engagement manager. I speak to people about the solutions that they want to use, make sure that we're getting the right value from the product application. We have regions across UK, Ireland, Asia, Africa, you name it. We've probably got a site, I think there's 64 in total. My boss is somewhere in the audience, he'll probably flag up and let me know. We've been using Zoho following a meeting that we had, an event in London last year. So we started with Zoho CRM and challenged the environment or the solutions that we were already using in the business for quite a while. Some perhaps have become a bit stale. So part of my role is the challenger. And yeah, we've got some good solutions. We got solutions that didn't need customization. We really like to configure only. So I was given a task to produce a proof of concept, which I really enjoy doing, and deliver the proof of concept and went live. Literally the day we went, delivered the proof of concept to the team in Asia. And it's kind of spiraled since then. So little pockets of products using CRM, the desk, CRM Desk Plus, configurator, flows. My problem is I keep clicking on all the buttons because I'm such a newbie and taking trials and trying the software.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Obviously, there's so many apps that you've been hearing about all morning. Paul keeps finding new ones to explore every week. And some of them apply better to different industries, to different solutions that you might need. Do you want to talk to us about some unique challenges that you might have had in your business or your industry? Maybe, do you want to start, Richard?
Yeah, I'll start.
It's Fletch.
Fletch.
It's all right. No, it's fine. So the broadband industry is really regulated, right? So we're regulated by Ofcom. And last year in September 2024, Ofcom pushed through some new legislation around consumer switching. Some of you may have experienced that in terms of historically, as a consumer, you would not be able to switch your broadband without going through one of those annoying phone calls where you ring your current provider, ask them you want to cancel, wait for 20 minutes, they offer you a better deal, you still don't get the better deal, and then you move on to the next kind of step, and they finally let you cancel, and then you can switch your broadband provider. Ofcom put some legislation through as part of its general conditions to say, look, we're going to change that around, and you can now switch at the point of purchasing your broadband, so the provider that you're initiating your kind of transfer with, so you want to move to Grain from Virgin, we handle the switching process from that side of it. So that process there then has to be orchestrated across the whole industry. Now, there's a platform that's been put in place by the industry called One Touch Switch, and we've used Zoho to coordinate that activity across all of our platforms to kind of really drive that consumer change across web, across our field teams, across our desk-based teams that are working in the industry, just to working with our customers when they're signing up, just to make that process seamless. So now when you go to the Grain website, you can pick your provider, you'll get an email back from your provider to tell you whether or not you've got any early termination fees or contract fees, so you can make an informed choice that you want to kind of leave and switch. So actually, one of the challenges when you were cancelling is maybe you didn't really know when your contract end date was. All of that process now is kind of automated and orchestrated through Zoho. But likewise, if you're going to Virgin and want to move away from Grain, obviously I hope you don't, but if you do, we then also provide that information back as well. And typically that happens within 30 seconds of a kind of request coming through on the sales website in terms of that side of it. So, you know, I think the power of using Zoho across your platforms can be amazing.
Cool. So the automations have transformed the way you work. Should we mix it up, Mazen? Do you want to?
Yeah, for sure. Similar issue was basically compliance and governance. So as an educational institute, you have to ensure that all our data is compliant with OFS, HESA, different government bodies. When it comes to educational institutes, we have to be compliant with them. One of the issues was making sure that we had the right data to present to them when it came to OFS statistics, for example. So what we've done, how we conquered that challenge was using automated, so we use Zoho CRM, so we created our own custom functions with Deluge. We've got a competent team in our company, so we can create our own functions if we need to. We also use kiosks and various other tools within the CRM platform to tackle that issue of transforming data as we need to, ensuring that it's compliant for UCAS, for example. There's different codes that we need to capture, whether it's how we represent genders, for example. They need to be presented in a different format to different government bodies. So we just transform data. It's easy enough done. We're trying to utilize the RPA process within the new tool within CRM to achieve that as well, but we manage it within the existing stack within the CRM tools.
Thank you. Go on, Paul.
Okay, so we have a unique, we think it's unique, tracking requirement for projects that we've defined over the years, which we've managed to replicate within Zoho CRM. One of our problems that we had across the different regions, you can imagine you're talking to somebody, New Zealand, India, Spain, Belgium, and you're trying to sell the same dream. It's very difficult to make it engaging. One of the big pluses for me was to be able to make it in the mobile app seamlessly. I put my demos together. This kind of approach, demo in the mobile app, sold it, but also got the engagements with the teams to actually use the product. And there we can demonstrate the value that we're getting from using the CRM. I can imagine there's a lot of people with CRMs that people never log into, or they export the data, they look it into a spreadsheet and bring it back in. The function of the sheets within Zoho CRM was a great surprise. Just helps keep an engagement with that kind of skill set that are just wanting to perhaps even only use a spreadsheet and put the data together, get the analytics, and be able to present to the business the value of the project tracking that we're doing, the quotations, and their time.
Cool. Jan, do you want to add to it?
Yeah, reiterate quite a lot what I've heard, really. The one thing to new users of Zoho is to understand here you're getting a great value product, but please invest in what you've got because it's highly configurable and everything you can do, you can adapt to your business. And, you know, with the financial services industry, that's what we've had to do. We've taken a CRM product and we've gradually evolved the processes, brought in blueprints, used Creator to take on those bespoke type features that you need within the process, and then invested more and more into it. We're now using Catalyst to create our own front end to things. So, as I say, it's all about trying to really take that product that can be configured, take the money that you're saving from not buying a Salesforce or an SAP, and invest it back into really getting something that runs your business and everyone buys into, and it runs the whole business. You know, it should be something that really acts as a catalyst to bring in new change to your business. The business workflows blueprints are a great example of that. We've been able to put more and more automation within them as people get used to things. The blueprints dictate what they've got to do. If there's any changes, then you push that through the blueprints. No need for manuals. They just follow those blueprints, get used to that. So that's what we've been working on and continuing to work, because as we know, business never stands still. There's always new things that are coming out. So, you know, just keep adapting.
That's good, because it leads us nicely into the next question. So is there something like a problem or a solution that you've had to implement that's quite bespoke to, you know, into solving something with Zoho? You mentioned Creator there. Do you want to give us an example of why you use that?
So where we first came in actually was Creator, just to create a fact find, a simple fact find. So for those that don't know Creator, it's a low-code product that will allow you to prototype things. So it's a great place to just get something started, try it out with the users. So we use that to take on the fact finds, and very quickly we worked out that we could feed that back into CRM. Because of the tight integration between the products, you're able to pass that data between the creator and the back end. And then, as I say, we're now going on to rebuilding that whole thing. Once we've got it all settled into the business, then we can take the front end and adapt that ourselves using our own code on Catalyst. So it's been great.
Nice. Come on, Fletch. Well, give us a...
I mean, look, so we use the Zoho One Suite quite extensively, but I suppose in terms of the biggest customization that we've done was when we actually first implemented Zoho, that we kind of took a step back. We were planning on implementing SAP for our ERP system to actually manage our contracts. So all of our consumer contracts are kind of issued out. They've got a start and an end date. It goes back to that point I said about the switching piece. We've got to have all that data to hand. So we kind of looked at it in terms of what we were going to do with SAP, and we just found it too monolithic, too difficult to customize. And I think that's, you know, really one of Zoho's strengths, that there is the kind of ability to customize and configure, both in a low-code environment and then also using Deluge. So we basically built a custom kind of offer management process, so we can customize an offer down to a customer at a postcode level. You can do those horrible manager specials if you need to on a phone call in terms of that side of it. But we've customized all of that, which then feeds into our billing suite. So all of our invoicing, et cetera, is generated through Zoho. We have a bill run that runs every night based on those contracts. So I think you can definitely sit there and be confident about the ability to implement kind of custom functions inside Zoho really safely and securely, in the knowledge that actually the coding language is fairly accessible. It's fairly similar to JavaScript. It's not quite the same syntactically, but it's close enough. So people coming into your organization, they can pick it up really quickly.
Cool. Mazen, I know you've been doing a lot of customization to...
Yeah, one real recent one that we achieved with the product team from Zoho was our identification document, identifier. So staff can just take a picture of sort of identifiable document, and I can figure out what type of document it is using the AI tools within Zoho and push it into the correct fields within our modules that we have. So a great tool. It saves a lot of admin time as well. But one that we customized quite complete was the whole journey from lead to application. Everything's automated in the sense that the only thing that our company needs to, or our staff need to do is call the lead a couple times just to figure out what course they want to do. Everything from that stage is automated. So offer letters, emails sent out automatically. Photo captures for identification badges, for example. That's all automated within the system. And it's quite a streamlined, automated system that we developed where little to no manual involvement in the whole process. So it's only achievable with the system we have using either custom functions or built-in functions within the platform. The workflows are helpful. We have a number of workflows within our platform. And everything's automated, and it wouldn't have been possible otherwise.
Good. Go on, Paul. What are you working on?
I've got one, but it's not quite as complex and interesting, sorry. So we had a recent acquisition, was able to push Zoho CRM really quickly into the business, a month, which I don't know whether you think that's quick. I think it's quick. They had an issue in the distribution center. So they send goods out, put it on a truck, off they go, and then the customer will say, I didn't receive that. I'm sure we've all seen this one before. So it appeared that they were using a little WhatsApp group to share these details because it was something functional within the team before we bought the business. So did the CRM and then just clicked a few buttons, and I had an app for creating a record that had the pictures, the images from the truck straight back into the CRM. It was so simple, it was ridiculous. So it's not quite as complicated, but functional and works and solved the problem.
Good. I mean, simple is often the best solution, isn't it? There's been a lot of mention of custom functions and using Deluge and different things in this last question. So what does that look like from a resource and training perspective within your organisations at the moment? I'm just throwing a curveball because I didn't share this question. But, you've all mentioned these custom functions. How easy was it to pick that up and run with?
So as I said, syntactically it's very similar to JavaScript, right? So a lot of our existing development staff were familiar with that coding language. We're a small team, there's only 5 of us at Grain, but I think it's the balance of kind of doing it, a CRM is not just for Christmas, it's for life, so you have got to then kind of continue to invest in the customization of it. You've got to feed it, you've got to water it, and it's striking that balance between what you get your partners to do, and the great partners are out there, and then also what you do yourself from that point of view. So I think it's always a balance to strike.
Yeah. Mazen, I know you're bending the system to its limits,
right.
but...
So my background is software engineering, so
Yeah.
understanding the syntax is quite straightforward to myself, but my colleagues who's in the audience, if he has no coding experience, I told him to solve something with the coding. He could figure out quite immediately. The syntax is quite easy to understand, similar to JavaScript, as you mentioned, and there's enough documentation. Zoho has their own API documentation or coding documentation available. So if you need support, it's there. The support team on the website, if you chat to them, they're able to help you out. So if you're struggling, just Google and you'll find the answer somewhere online if you need to. The support's there, the documentation's there. If you want to start doing your custom functions, it's plug and play essentially, just knowing how to write. So the syntax is the main thing. Yeah.
Cool.
I've avoided having to write any. I've definitely seen the need to, with some documents that we were creating with the proof of concept, providing quotations that are, quite complicated. But I did speak to my account manager who just got a little fix. It was so simple. I did struggle on online looking on certain chat solutions. did struggle. So I'm guessing the bit that we missed earlier has maybe got a solution that would help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thought so.
Okay, thanks. Leads us into the next question. So what are the factors that companies should keep in mind when planning to implement new apps and new technology from vendors? Paul, you can maybe carry on because you said you like to click on the new apps and get signed up.
I think it's definitely high on our agenda to have a good relationship with the vendor. And I think where we've had difficult relationships with vendors in the past, we've avoided it. So, good solid team behind them, good products, people that don't overpromise. And certainly with the team that we've got and the account manager, if we need help from a particular skill set area, it's there. It's just organized. And I'll give you an example. We've got a rollout that we're working on in our offices in India. We had a meeting organized. I think there was like 8 people from one side of the world, another 8 people from the other side of the world. But it wasn't a problem. It just happened. And the people that in the remote areas that we work with, they can see the buy-in from Zoho to support us because we're almost like an internal reseller across our business. The product's got to be good and it's got to be reliable to do that.
Cool.
Okay.
Jan, it's your turn, I think.
Yeah, so we're lucky that we already had a Chennai-based office, so actually we've got a team out there that help us make ourselves be self-sufficient. But I know, again, for me, I think Zoho puts it out there for you to really allow yourselves to do as much or as little as you want with the product, and provides all of what's needed, including the support from the account managers, which is great. But without wishing to repeat myself, I would recommend that. I know there's been a nervousness previously with companies thinking we don't want to become an IT company, but the way things are moving with AI, that need for technology and the knowledge of technology is becoming less and less. That you can get AI to write you a little bit of code if you need to do it, but more the case with the agents that are going to be coming in from now. It's more about the business knowledge. So see the tool as offering a technology that you can start to use and get the most out of it in that way. And Zoho constantly, I think that's the way that they're different. Really, they're not looking to add on and sell the services. They're looking to give you a great product that can deliver as much as or as little as you want in terms of that customization, which I think is excellent.
The change in the business, sorry to jump in. Instead of having programmers, engineers that were just looking for creative people.
Yeah, you understand the
as
business.
As soon as you're creative and you can use that bot, you're going to create the business solution.
I think another part to add to that is the Zoho suite of products. You've got your work drive, you've got Click, you've got your email that you can integrate in. So all of that data is there to lead you into great AI solutions that will bring all that information
that
together.
looks incredible, doesn't it?
Yeah, just add that something which the coding aspect is going to diminish over time, but one thing which people should focus on is architecture. So Zoho has a number of applications. So it's knowing how to piece them all together so it suits business operations and needs. That's more valuable more than anything because, as you said, AI can write code for you if you need to, but it won't know how it's going to integrate with another system you might have in your organization, for example. So we have, I think, over 40 applications we use, systems we use in our company, and it's knowing how they should all integrate with each other, and that's something that prospective customers of Zoho should be aware of. Is rather than just getting the system just to meet one need, you should really analyze it, how it meets all business operations, because it's fully capable of doing that. You just need to know how it can be done, what integration needs to be done, what APIs need to be used, and just the systems architecture is the most important, vital thing to be aware of. So.
Anything you want to add, Fletch.
I suppose one thing, just around the excitement around AI, right? So I take a slightly different view that, and it goes back to the original point, the first point on the resilience piece around kind of trust by design. I am the CIO that managed to have, somebody upload their payroll file into Teams and it basically get picked up by Office 365, and then basically you could query it and ask it what everybody's salary was in the company. So I think you have to sit there and go, this tool is amazingly powerful, but it still needs to be configured really correctly, right? So think about your security setup, think about the data that you're sharing. So if you are going to share stuff on OneDrive, think about which ones they are going to be shared and not, because that was an uncomfortable conversation for me with my CEO that afternoon.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of security questions going around the room today. Let's roll back a little bit now. Let's rewind to when you first come on board with Zoho, because there's quite a lot of new Zoholics in the room, as we saw with the show of hands earlier. Tell us about your implementation and your first experiences with Zoho. What did that look like, Paul?
It was very quick. The proof of concept probably dealt with most of the issues in a production environment, but it really was the last week of December. It was 6 o'clock meeting. Here's the demo, and then the managing director of that divisional area just said, yeah, I love it, let's do it. So as we all finished for Christmas, my colleagues in Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore were putting all the data in, uploading it. I'd say probably took 3 months of raw data going in, and rather than just a big data upload, because I think the data upload in the legacy CRM wasn't great quality. They put their new data in, put their appointments, and I'd say after 3 to 4 months, we then started seeing good product and project analytics in terms of we want to know when's the project going to be on site, when are they going to manufacture, when are we going to get paid, to balance all the manufacturing, which was all doable just by a few fields. It wasn't difficult, and the user adoption, because it was so simple, has been fantastic. So it's just online on the app. I was just having a look. It's really good data that can help influence the business decisions, which is ultimately, if you don't have good data, useful data, what's the point of even having the CRM? It just goes into oblivion. So yeah, it was good.
Good.
But it was 6 o'clock in the morning.
Sounds good. Mazen?
So I joined the organization just after we already launched Zoho CRM. So we'll talk about the rollout of other applications we use. So recently we just scrapped MailChimp, which was our platform to send out mails, replaced it with the Zoho Marketing campaign, Zoho Marketing Plus platform. And luckily our organization, everyone's quite tech savvy, so the rollout was quite straightforward. We get training sessions from Zoho itself. So if we find a new product, we ask for a training session. So it's easy enough for us to understand and teach the rest of our colleagues. But as was mentioned, the platforms itself, they're straightforward, click and play, basically, and no major challenges from what we faced when it came to adoption, rolling outs. Nothing really to add. As straightforward processes for us.
That's too straightforward. Let's see if we can keep it straightforward.
Yeah,
how did you go?
There's a few caveats in all of this.
I was going to say,
everyone's different.
People wanted to have it to start with, and if you simplify, even the success criteria into something small that everybody knows what's been talked about.
Well, I'll just add to that as well. So before our state of play on Zoho CRM, when it comes to marketing campaigns that we launched, we'd only keep track of that through our ad platforms, which was a mess. There wasn't enough visibility, so having everything pushed into our CRM meant that all our data was visible and presentable. We could put it in a dashboard. So the buy-in was there from the stakeholders and from the budget teams and everyone. So it was welcomed by the company. So that's what's-
Yeah, I was going to add that the configuration, the configurability makes it as straightforward as can be, but to me, I've been in the industry for so long, the number one thing you've got to get is the buy-in from the executive team to push things through, because any implementation is a change to your users and what they do every day, and that's what really is the pushback in whatever you're implementing. So the word of advice, the one top piece of advice would be make sure you get that executive buy-in. So when the rollout starts, you have the time from the people who are on the ground to get used to the solution, get involved in, not making an IT solution, but making it a business solution. And then the execs need to be there when the users will be pushing back, because any new system and any change, users need to get used to and need to get past that point. So that's the number one thing that, we can't sit here and say it would be very easy for everybody. That will make the difference.
Yeah. Anything to add, Fletch?
Yeah, I'll do the naysayer bit slightly. No, it's fine. Look, so we took the decision when we were implementing, we went out to market, right? So we had an existing CRM. We saw this as a strategic purchase for us that was going to be a 5-10 year relationship, right? So we wanted to make the right choice. So we went out, did a tendering exercise, normal, all the usual suspects. I think the key bit for us, and it kind of reiterates Jan's points, right? So we delayed our implementation twice. So we were planning to go live in the April. We ended up going live in the July. We did that for kind of one technical reason, but the two primary reasons, though, on both occasions why we pushed it back is because the teams weren't ready and the teams weren't trained, right, in terms of that side of it. And I shout out to our partner, Creative Analysis, and Sue, for her diligently redoing training, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and then also the drop-in sessions. I think you just can't underestimate how long that change is going to take to learn and process within your organisation, right? And as a leader, if you're kind of driving an implementation, don't just sit there and look at the date and say it can't move. It can if it's the right thing for your organisation.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking at the question and thinking we should have phrased it a little bit differently, really. So looking back on that, is there any learnings from it that you might have done a little bit different to make it go smoother or better for you? To help the guys during setup?
I think there's another element, which is prioritisation, because there's so much you can take on with Zoho. It's about making sure you find the quick wins early on. That's another key thing to do. Don't take too much on at one time. Mm-hmm. However interesting it looks to take other areas and booking features or Zoho Sign, for example. Just be sure on what you're doing and take it a bit at a time. Really, that you can get wrapped up in it's all being successful and you try and take too much on. So that's another piece of advice I'd give.
I'd agree. A clear definition of what does good look like, what's the success criteria for phase 1, because you're right, everybody wants all the bells and whistles, all the automations. Nothing can be removed as far as anyone's concerned to simplify for the go live launch. You'll have all the customization of click here, signature goes there, email goes there. When if you really strip it down, you can go live, and it just means a few people have got to do some different tasks. Okay, I'm really simplifying that, and that's probably belittling some things, but that's the way you've got to look at it. You've got your data and you've got your main transactions running, and then let's go back. Let's add an automation. Let's add something that sends a flow here, or when the data's visible, then let's go and do some more stuff. So definitely recommend you do that. Don't overcomplicate, but also how you deliver to the audience. So you may have 3 separate audiences, different teams that you're loading the CRM to. You've got to be a dynamic. You've got to change that view for each audience to get buy-in. And there's also culture, language, all those things have a massive impact on your go live or interest or your buying. And it's not just CRM, it's all the software. That's my advice.
Yeah, Mazen, I know you've implemented a lot of different apps over the last 12 months. Like, what does the rollout look like?
Likewise, not to rush things, and phased delivery as well as phased rollout as well. That's our strategy. Minimizes error from any errors that could possibly come. But yeah, that's our key. Just to department roll a feature out, get their buy-in, get their feedback, and then implement that for the next phase, and go on. It's a very agile approach that we take in our company when it comes to deploying new changes. And we have a very strict change control policy as well. So we need to adhere, but get all stakeholder buy-in before we roll everything out. Because you don't want to launch a feature for one department and realize it impacts another department when it comes to adding a new field, for example, or removing a field. It might work for one particular department, but it might affect another department, like finance, for example, which is an instance we've had in the past where we just had to remove one field just because of a member of staff didn't want it there anymore, and didn't realize the impact it would have for the student finance team because they actually needed that field. And so just ensuring that things adhere to strict change control policy, and yeah, you get everyone, all the users involved in the process. So you can also configure role-based, RBAC, like role-based active controls as well. To yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Fletcher, you've mentioned a partner. I've already given them a big shout out. I know you guys haven't necessarily used partners as much as Fletch, but do you want to talk to us about the value of maybe using a partner to help with implementation and customizations? Because some of the guys are probably visiting the booths in the hall, wondering, what can they do to help, and what's the experience look like?
Yeah, I mean, from our point of view, look, this was my first implementation of Zoho. So I've had other kind of technology leadership roles where I've implemented Salesforce. I know we said we wouldn't talk about it, but anyway. But I think the benefit for me is the expertise and the experience, right? I had to have confidence that our partner could help me get from A to B quickly and navigate some of the pitfalls. There are always issues when you take a new software product on that actually, are you sure that you're going to know how to deal with this? So as an example, Jack, who worked with us on some of the technical implementation, kind of, advises, look at blueprints, look at circuits, look at the orchestration platform, look at the customization in workflows, and we picked a different one to learn about each one of those kind of skill sets with it, or each one of those points within the CRM, to kind of say which one actually fits our business best. So we took one processor, we did it in a wizard, we took one, we did it in a kiosk, etc. Just for us to get a bit of a sense of kind of how we're doing that, but having that kind of support and experience both from a technical perspective and just having that piece that they support you and lots of other customers and they bring ideas back to us is super helpful, right? And likewise then, we share information back around kind of what things that we found useful, etc. So, from our point of view, I think that extra knowledge on the team is great, and also they're connected with you guys at Zoho better than we are in the night. They speak to you more regularly. Yeah. We have a monthly call with Paula and the team, and they just give us feedback in terms of what's coming up, what's coming out, and what do they think that is relevant to our business. And that's just super helpful in terms of time saving.
Cool. Well, obviously, I mean, from a resource point of view, as an account manager, when we go out there and speak to customers, it's often, well, we haven't got the resource to make these changes. We can't actually physically do it ourselves. So that's where partners often step in. But some of you guys have made the investment in your own teams to actually do it internally. Do you want to tell us what that process has looked like, and what's the other side of the coin?
Yeah, so, our normal way forward wouldn't be to outsource to a third party. We would invest internally. The upside to that is, you're going to get advice on somebody who's had the journey before. They've been in the space, and they know the pitfalls. So I think, because we're doing it ourselves, we probably get more challenges, don't we? it just works. But I think we have possibly 75 people in the IT team. Obviously not all dealing with this, but in terms of how we see and how we operate, we're lucky that we've got, you know, a sizable team that all deal with all the different various aspects required to go forward. So yeah, we it's not just here that we would steer away from third parties. Generally, we would always try and do ourselves, but it's all down to the size of your business and what you've got in terms of resource available. Because if we need to flex, then yes, we probably would dabble and go and find some partner support.
Yeah, makes sense. Jan?
Well, as I say, we've invested a lot in just making sure we've got the ownership and we're taking full advantage of everything that's on offer. But without the risk of repeating myself, whichever route you take, it will be high value. If you're getting a partner in, or if you're going to take on your own people within your organisation, it's good. It's really good value on the product that you're sitting on. Otherwise, you know, you're not getting anywhere near the value out of the product. And there's, with so much online knowledge available and great YouTube videos. If you watch some of the partners that are out there are giving great YouTube videos. So even people within the organisation, you know, encourage them to get involved in looking at and coming up with ideas, I would say.
Yeah. Got anything to add, Mazen?
Yeah, we got enough resources in the company, so we do everything in-house as it is. But if we need support, we always just contact the Zoho team, and they're always happy to help. We have account manager Carl, Matt, and Karthik and Praveen. They're always there to help us if anything is required from our side. It's something quite technical. To mention that image detection tool, we had that developed by Zoho, as well as a few scripts that we required in the past. But otherwise, we just do everything in-house. We have the resources for it. As mentioned, there's enough resources online as well, so if you need support, there's other partners out there that do their own podcasts and vlogs, I'd say, and watch them if you need a refresher on how to utilize a new feature. As well as the website, there's a website, there's enough videos on how to utilize certain features and tools. So yeah, we just rely on everything in-house most of the times.
Good. So, two different sides of the coin there, obviously different experiences. And that's the beauty of coming along today, to meet other customers that are working in different ways, different setups, taking on different advice, working with different partners. So it's great to just talk to as many other customers as you can today to understand the best route forward for yourselves. We'll finish up in 5 minutes and ask for questions from the audience. But before we do that, do you want to talk to us about maybe something you're working on right now and any advice around that? Anyone want to volunteer first?
I suppose the AI piece, right? So we're looking at that now. One of the challenges that we've had initially is around kind of data sovereignty, right? So where's your data being held? How's it being processed? You know, OpenAI at the moment, unless you're on the enterprise offering, don't actually have anything in Europe. So, you know, are you happy that your data kind of ends up kind of residing elsewhere? I think the key bit for me, though, is just to it kind of goes back to Jan's point also around kind of like making sure you've spent time in terms of you have to invest in the time to learn, to understand, and whether you do get that from partners or sources, etc. This for us now is new territory in terms of that side of it for implementing AI. But the first thing that we did in our organisation, even only this month, has been, oh crikey, we need to update our privacy policies so that we can actually kind of push this data out and use it and handle it. I think there's a lot of regulatory, legal impacts that you've just got to go away and think about. But also, it's a new territory, so you've got to just kind of lean in and try and learn as much as you can.
Our focus is, like we keep hearing, on AI, and as I say, we're the real advantage of waiting for the release of the AI agents from Zoho, because we know our data security and all of our data and information and reports. documents are all held within that Zoho space, and that's our secure space. So having an AI engine within that space gives you that added advantage that you're not taking that outside of that secure area into an open domain. So the AI agents are going to be the real focus for the next 6 months for me in terms of finding what the team should be focusing on.
Cool. Mazen?
So for international CRM, we're in the middle of doing a very large revamp of the whole system. So we're actually getting assistance from the Zoho team to build it the correct way, according to how your company teams fit as well. So that's going to be a very interesting approach to developing the CRM rather than using our own sort of standards and thoughts. It's being based on the best minds in the company of Zoho. So that's quite exciting. As we also mentioned, waiting for the Zoho ZIA agents as well. That's quite exciting to use. We used Catalyst recently to spot trends and visualize that on our modules that we have. So utilizing that for the ZIA agents will be...
So what trends are you looking at? Is that set up? Is that automated?
It's automated. So it's feeding straight from a direct integration to your CRM. So we can spot trends based on demographics. We can find out which students are more likely to succeed, for example. Predictions, obviously, it's nothing guaranteed, but various lead scoring tools, for example, that's something we're trying to do and implement, utilizing the data we have and backdating it for about 7 years of data that we have as well collected. So it should be fairly accurate. It's just a lot of AI tools that we're trying to utilize to the max capabilities.
Clever.
Just completing out the CRM builds and getting the data so that everybody's in a good place, they're happy with how the data looks, and then we'll start doing automations. The desire from the business is, at the moment, we don't have leads. So how do we manage the leads, and whether it's direct in or whether it's through another solution that fires the leads in, we'll be doing that. But when we do it in one region, then the next region will want to follow. So we know that that's coming, and it'll be a bit of a brain ache putting that together. And then I think when we look at the AI integration and understanding where we're going to use it, that's then what we're going to review. And then are we going to use it for building, or are we going to use it for data? How do we break it down? How do we control it? Same questions as everybody else, but we need the data to be in a good position first. Great. And then we can ask Sia.
If I can just add to that, we're thinking that actually, there's lots of interest in far more interesting areas that can point AI at.
Yeah.
But I think one of the areas we've recognised would be a great place to start is data integrity and data quality.
Yeah.
Because every business out there suffers with poor data, and you're making decisions on it. So having these agents that are sitting behind the scenes, sweeping through the data, looking for irregular data or irregular following of processes, although not interesting, is really useful to all of us, rather than having regular exercises where we're trying to cleanse information. So
and the end users just can have an expectation that if it's wrong, it doesn't really matter, because the agent's going to go and fix it, right. Bring back me the data, postcode's going to be right. That's where the expectation is leading, isn't it? There won't be people cleaning the data up, but it'll be right. I hope.
Cool. Good. So that leaves us about 6.5 minutes. Have we got some questions from the audience? There must be one. Come on, guys. Here we go. Has anyone got the mic? There you go, Dale. Or you can throw it at him. It's a fluffy mic.
Hello, and thanks for the presentation there. Could you each tell me how you manage training and the rollout of new features, and do you use any Zoho tools to help you do that?
Yep, I'll go on. I'll start. So The feature set in Zoho, so if we just deal with CRM, right, in terms of that side of it, how we deal with CRM. So we have a staging environment, so one of the sandboxes that we use as UAT, and then we push from the changes onto the sandbox and then push it up to the production environment. I think, one of the pieces and one of the challenges for Zoho is probably the kind of the code management side if you come at it from a technical perspective. If anybody wants to hook me up later for the integration that pulls all their deluge code into Git, let me know, I've got one. But that is one of the challenges that we don't have a traditional code review process that we can use, so we have to rely on the UAT push from Sandbox, but that means we have to then have our own kind of CI or continuous development piece running on the Sandbox environment. I think it's about discipline and kind of change management, but there is some tooling inside Zoho to help you with that using the Sandbox. With hindsight, if I go back and look at it again, I might have built the whole thing as a plugin, because I think that would have driven a bit more discipline in terms of the code configuration side of it. But, if that's the piece that you're looking to manage end-to-end from a kind of technical perspective, certainly if I had my time again, I'd look at it as a kind of total plug-in build.
Anyone else want to add to that?
Looking at me. I was thinking a different take on what you asked. I was thinking about how do you sit with the end users. Is that of interest? Okay. So you would certainly look at breaking down processes into the different areas and streams of people that are working on, whether it's quotes, whether it's salesmen, whether it's somebody that visits architects or so on, and then break them down and have clear defined processes, basic, simple step, just details. And am I allowed to mention any other products?
If it begins with a Z, yeah.
I'm trying to think if there is this product. So it's a screen capture product that actually notates all the different clicks that you're doing. And you get to the end of it, and you've got a document that you can just share. And you can also see how many people looked at it and that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that I have on library that I share quickly with a big audience. And if it's wrong and you want to change it, you just go back a few clicks and it's done. We have even experimented in another product that is AI generator of me clicking on a screen and stuff. But it works, but I don't think it makes people more likely to follow the right process, so I kind of stopped that one.
I'll answer from a Zoho point of view as well. So the whole Zoho team, most of the UK team, actually get all their training from Zoho Learn. So instead of doing a demo 78 times, we've actually recorded a demo and we have it, logged inside Zoho Learn, and then they have to log in, watch the video, tick it off to say they've actually been there, seen it, done it, and it's all part of the learning journey. So you can set up your own catalogue of training within there for different departments.
So is that like a catalogue of webinars?
Exactly. You can put your own in there. You can even download others and put them in there. But you've got a log of who's up to where in their training then.
So with that as well, you know, certain experience has shown the different demographics and also locations, the culture, all change how the training actually works. But I find just being friendly also helps. And if if you can reply quickly with a link that you've already got, it makes a big difference. But it's always a challenge. It's never the same everywhere.
Yeah, we actually use the same tool to describe everything now for you. But otherwise, we just document everything. We do face-to-face training with our London campus because I work there, as well as team screen sharing calls where we just show these things and record the calls so they can be distributed out. We log any SOPs that we have on our intranet page, so if staff, new joiners come to the company, they can read through the SOPs or help them out, whatever tasks they need to do. Just document the work and share it out, user guides. We have a learning development team in our company, So everybody just I normally present it to them, and they do the whole documentation for me, and they do the training sessions themselves. But if need be, I do the training sessions myself, and it's usually done through Teams, just a screen sharing call. And yeah, everyone's tech savvy, so it gets adopted quite easily.
Okay, we're about out of time. Has anyone got one last question for one of the team to answer? Anybody interested in a specific industry or question? No? Can't see any arms. I'll wrap it up now then. Can we all give the panelists a big round of applause and thanks for your time, yeah? The good news for you guys is that it's lunchtime. So if you head back towards the main exhibition space, I believe it's Hall 3, you'll find some different foods on in different sides of the arena. Help yourselves to drinks and get networking. Enjoy your day. Thanks very much.